sometimes their style may not fit with how you operate or what you're trying to do. That's what. Listen, that's what I tell you. If you think you already know it, you don't need mentors. You don't need trainers. You don't need this and that. If you think you know everything, even now, I'm like, listen. Even with Wayne, I'm still learning new things that I'm like, man, I didn't know nothing. I've been boxing for, but it's like I feel like I was put on this planet at times just to influence others. You treat people the way you want to be treated. And things of that nature. And they treated me like I was one of their own flesh and blood. So why would I look at them any different or treat others any differently? If you taught me this and how to be a proper human being, that's how I'm gonna carry out, the way I move, even in adulthood.
All right, what's going on, family? Good morning from us to you guys, whatever time you're looking at. We appreciate everybody tuning in to MarVic Productions. Today is a very special day for us. Really, this whole week, we are currently out in Vegas. We're out in Vegas, and it's myself, Victor. We brought our boy Bryce, who's behind the scenes, behind the cameras, and it's a very special trip for us because we're pursuing this vision and this game plan right now of connecting with some really cool people, and we've got the main person that we're out here for that we're gonna give you a proper introduction just a little bit, but we just want to give a shout out to all the fans and everybody that's been helping us along the journey because, again, if you guys have been tuning in since day one, we really have no idea what we're doing. But you know what I'm saying? God is with us. We've got vision. We've got work ethic. We're putting our money where our mouth is. And, here we are, now with someone, really cool that before I get into, I'll give you a little bit of time too.
Yeah. I was gonna say not just someone that we look at as a boxer, but a husband, an author, ex-Marine, veteran. So there's a lot of things that I personally want to touch in with you and just kind of get to know you more, Jamel, outside of the boxing ring. I feel like we know you as the boxer, but me personally as a fan of you, I want to know the man.
And former WBO champion as well.
Yes,
to throw that in there. So.
Yeah, we're excited. And thanks for making the time to be here.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, bro. We know, one thing I was noticing yesterday that I was mentioning to these guys in the car, like being a pro athlete is very demanding. And, we're in sales, we do life insurance, we do the podcast, but boxing, correct me if I'm wrong, it's your main thing.
Yeah, it's like I always say, it's a lifestyle because you always, for starters, you get fighters, you get a call. You know what I mean? So you never know when you may get that call. So you always are expected to stay in the gym.
Stay ready.
Just stay ready and keep track of how you live in away from the cameras as well. Especially when it comes to the weight, how you take care of your body and things of that nature.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
Because there's times where I've seen fighters that get overweight, after a fight or something like that, and then they come to training camp and they're 40 pounds overweight. Yeah,
they come to training camp and it turns to fat camp. You know what I mean? Instead of you just basically working on what you need to be working on in terms of technique, it turns to the fat camp. Yeah, you're just more focused on losing weight than actually trying to come up with a proper game plan for your fight.
Skills, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's very important. One thing that Wayne McCollin said yesterday that stood out to me the most. He said, "I've only had one drink.
I was gonna say that too.
One drink in my life."
When?
Well, no, he said.
Oh, no.
I was to say what?
Are you saying that because you've never even seen him drink?
I've never seen Wayne is he's all business. He's all business. He's professional. He's professional, but
he's a pro for sure.
He's an Irishman, so I'm one drink.
I think what he said is he has one beer a year.
Okay, yeah.
Which that within itself, like you said, he's Irish. We know the Irish culture is.
They like to drink.
Yeah, they love their Guinness. Shout out to Ireland, man. Shout out.
Right, yeah.
For real.
And that just goes to show his discipline and, like you said, his professionalism. But you're pretty much the same. Yeah. You're just all year.
I'm cool. For me, every now and then, when I'm away from camp or if I had a family gathering or something, maybe a shot here and there or whatever. But for the most part, I try to.
What's your go-to?
I keep I guess my go-to.
Once a year, what's your go-to?
I say shout out to JC Jerry. I know. Before camp, it was Casamigos, and that is crime.
That's definitely gonna burn through.
Jerry is the man likes to drink. He knows his drinks too.
I don't like beer. Like my father was always big on it. He's a Budweiser guy, but I hate
beer belly. It's just
I think that's the worst for any athlete, especially when it comes to like weight and everything. I can't like it. Beer is not it for me.
Well, so are you more like the whiskey or
like maybe
tequila?
like the Crown, like if you gotta go dark, it's maybe the Crown Royal set, you know what I mean? But it's more the tequila. But other than that, I just stay away from it as much as I can.
Yeah. Well, you're doing it right because I've done. I'm not as fit as obviously you or the pro athletes we saw yesterday. Like those what is it? Akeem. That kid is ripped, man.
Man,
like,
right, yeah.
Like
man.
Shout out to those kids and shout out to you. You're freaking. You got a six
pack
and
man.
All
like
that.
You know what I'm saying. Late 30s, gotta keep it up. You know what I mean?
You're looking better than us.
But that's why I say like from like the beer and stuff. I'm like, man, like it's too much of it. You start looking like a dad bod. I'm like, gotta leave it alone.
Right.
Yeah, he's speaking to me right now.
We're gonna throw him in camp right now, bro.
Yeah, man, I'll get in there. But no, I've done my research. Like tequila is actually, if you're going to do it,
right?
You're at a family gathering. Jerry's got you on correctly because tequila is the clean. I mean, it's still poison, but it's the cleanest.
It's a clean. Yeah, that's why I just learned that myself. Like literally a month ago. Like what
although I'll challenge you and I'll challenge Jerry. Casamigos has a little bit too much additives in there, so there's actually even cleaner. I'll put you on.
He's done his real research.
All right, at least you've done your research, but instead of just drinking out there, everything available.
And not to say Jerry's not. Jerry knows more than we. That's an experienced man, but that once a year time for you, we'll have to do it then. Yeah.
So what's this camp been like for you? Correct me if I'm wrong, but is this your first camp with Wayne McCollum?
No, it's my second. My second. The first one we did was I think late September, and I fought November 7th. So we were just getting the chemistry. But we before that we made Jerry and we made a call to Wayne, and I didn't even know Wayne was even a fan. Wayne was even thrown off at the fact that I said, Wayne, we're thinking about working with you for this fight, and he was shocked about it. So, but when we got in camp, we just like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it was like I had an 18-month layoff, so I was feeling it first. Like, man, like, do I really still wanna?
Yeah,
like, do I still got? Yeah, like it's like it hurts, but Wayne was like, no, you forget in Vegas the elevation, is so like of course you're gonna feel a little winded. It's been over a year since you've been in a real training camp environment, right? So when we started clicking, it just felt natural. And then but for this camp, Wayne can tell you himself, like the first week we just jumped right back into it. And
you were already adjusted.
It was totally different from when I first got to camp, from the last camp.
Right.
Like I was like, all right, I'm good. Like I was like, oh, we can spar this week. He's like, no. I know you're in shape, but I want you to let's ease our way into it. So all right, so like it's been great. The chemistry's been really good, and I'm looking forward to this next matchup with Wayne.
Yeah, just talking to Wayne yesterday, his knowledge for the game, and it's not just like the offensive,
right?
The defense as well, movement.
Oh yeah, it's mainly the defense,
blocking with your hands as you go.
Yeah, because he comes from the school of Eddie Futch. Like you said yesterday, we got guys Riddick Bowe, Joe Frazier, Freddie Roach was one of his fighters back in the day. So it's just that old school environment where a lot of guys today, they're more offensive than anything, but you don't really see that skill and technique.
I was just gonna bring that up.
And like that old school, like that Philly shell, not so much of the the shoulder roll that you may learn in the Midwest and that Floyd comes to, but it's again. Like at first, I was having a hard time with it because it was totally different. Like I never attempted it. You see a lot of guys attempt either a Philly shell or a shoulder roll, and they just get it all wrong.
Yeah, it's a
so
major
it's one
fail.
of the things. It's one of the things where I just kind of left alone. But now, working with Wayne, he made it just seem more natural to where like I could be in out in public, and I'm just thinking about the fight, and I'm sitting there just in the end emotions like So it comes natural.
That's really cool that you picture a coach, and you also picture some moves that you're going to learn from that coach. What I guess for you and Jerry, assuming he's the person you had these convos with, but how do you go about choosing your coach? Like, hey, why Wayne for these?
You know, you look at it's like an interview in their resume. You look at their work of art, like they you know what I'm saying, who they work with, and like for us, we look at how a fighter looked like before they went to a certain trainer,
And after.
and how they look during with them, or how they look afterwards, and so on.
That makes sense.
And same thing I did with work. Shout out to B&B with Bomac and those guys, Red Spikes, Isao Dieguez, over there in Omaha, Nebraska. Who would have thought that Omaha, Nebraska would have had one of the best set of coaches,
Right?
Available out there. So and those guys,
Facts.
They turned me into a world champion. They gave me a lot of more self-belief within myself, and I was with those guys over there. Mike Stafford, another guy, rest in peace to Mike Stafford. Shout out to Cincinnati, Ohio. After the Olympics, I had more of an amateur style, but then I seen what Mike was doing with guys like Adrian Braun at the time in 2012 and so on. When Adrian went from not making the Olympics, but then he had more of a pro style, and he went to win the WBO title that I had came in to win years later. So. You look at things again. It's like more of like what a trainer's done, their book of work, their resume. Obviously, more importantly, the chemistry, and if that style fits you, because there's a lot of great trainers out there.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, but sometimes their style may not fit with how you operate or what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I've seen that. Me personally, like I'm a big Oscar Valdez fan. Just gonna throw that out there. And obviously, he's training with Eddie Reynoso now. And
shout out to Oscar Valdez, man. Yeah. We still never got that fight, bro. But Oscar's my guy, man.
It's never too late, man. Maybe we can get that.
No, what is crazy? I mean, catch you up, but like when I was WBO champion, Oscar had a WBC champion. Mm-hmm. No, I can even go further back. When I first won my WBO title against Masako Ito, Oscar was the featherweight champion at 126. The same
he wasn't even at 130 yet.
Yeah, and then he wasn't at 130 yet, but I knew he was moving up. Mm-hmm. And the way it works with the WBO is basically like if you hold a version of the title at a lower weight, you automatically get the first crack at the WBO champion in the next weight class. And that happened to be me. Mm-hmm. So, and at the time, I'm like, I was still hungry. Even now I'm still hungry, but I was definitely like really, really hungry to prove a point. Mm-hmm. And it was one of the things where like, okay, I won the title, but I need a bigger name. Mm-hmm. And this is the respect to Oscar Valdez. Right. So like, I know he was moving up, but I was like, okay, cool. If Oscar moves up, obviously he's gonna enforce his mandatory spot to face me. But it never happened, and that's when he fought. Instead, he moved up and decided to go at Miguel Berchelt. Oh, okay. Miguel Berchelt. So with that being said, and I ain't take it as like, I never took it as like a duck or anything. I looked at it like this, like especially with boxing, we all know a Mexican fighter versus another top Mexican fighter. I get it. I understand.
It was COVID time too,
exactly.
Right?
So. It was right before COVID time that they was planning all these things out. When it happened, it was COVID time, but they was already planning that fight out. But it was one of the things like that. I was like, man, I don't want to be the guy in the division. He's in the big fight. Who am I gonna fight? If Oscar Valdez is not willing to fight me right now, who can I fight? And that's when I had to go the route of the Carl Frampton route. Carl Frampton at the time was a big name. Carl Frampton actually was one of my favorite fighters watching, and it's crazy because 2016. He won Ring Magazine's Fighter of the Year. 2016, I had suffered my first loss, so we was on two totally different paths. But it's funny how things play out. Yeah. You know what I'm saying, down the road. But that's just one story.
That was a beautiful performance by you as well in Dubai as well, right?
Yeah. It was supposed to happen again. Like you said, COVID happened. Mm-hmm. It was supposed to go to Belfast. I was willing to go to Belfast in front of his crowd, because I don't mind traveling.
Yeah, I was gonna touch on that there, because a lot of fighters they want to fight more in their turf, than fly overseas.
It's more comfortable.
And you don't mind that.
I don't care.
Yeah, I've seen you fight everywhere.
I don't care. Even now, I'm going to Australia. So I don't really care about the as long as I get my fair shake and it's the judging everything is neutral. Mm-hmm. Even though like. I would prefer, any fighter would prefer that he doesn't even go to the scorecards, of course. But as long as I have a team behind me, shout out to Lou DeBella, you know, who's looking out for me, making sure that I'm treated fairly and in that nature. I'm fine. I'm fine with it. But again, I'm just trying to take it back to old school boxing where you've seen a lot of top guys and world champions. They competed, you know, all over the world and not just in their respected home country. I mean, you've seen guys like Muhammad Ali travel to Africa and the UK and here on and so on, and others after him as well.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and I think it's a smart move because you become more of an international athlete.
Exactly, you get more. And as I looked at it, also you build more of a bigger fan base now.
Marketing.
Because now, like again, like I have fans in Ireland, I have fans in the UK. After this fight, I probably gain more fans in Australia and so on and so on.
On that note, it's funny, man. So we have an editing team, right? And our girls are from the Philippines, and we had a meeting with them before, you know, coming out here. And one of our editors, you know, she mentioned that her dad's a huge fan of you, that she's proud that her dad is proud of her, of what she's doing. You know, the fact that
respect.
we're gonna
Respect to her. Respect to her, man.
It's funny because she's done a lot of great work for us. If you look at our editing, it's really her and her team. But it looks like her dad never really gave her any props until he's like, I'm so proud of you, baby. You're gonna, you know, go see Jamel. He's one of my favorite fighters.
Hey, shout out to him, man. Shout out to the both of them, man. Much love to y'all, man.
And they're in the Philippines, bro.
And you know what it is? And it's the thing. It's for me, it's the little things that matter. Like it's the little things. And again, like you say, we want to touch on other things about me, but it's like I feel like I was put on this planet at times just to, you know, influence others, you know, being an underdog and, you know, just touching as many lives as I possibly can. That's why when you guys see me, and you spoke to me just day one yesterday, never came off as big-headed. When you guys asked me about do I enjoy, like, the big atmosphere and crowd, I'm just like, I get up the same as you guys we put on our pants the same way, and I just go on my day, and I'm just happy just to be alive and just enjoying life. So that's how I look at
very
things.
humble, and we talked about it a lot yesterday where we just felt, you know, very comfortable, not just with you, but with the whole team. Everybody's just cool. They're being themselves, and that allows us to just be, all right, cool. Like, we don't have to.
Yeah, because like you said, like you go in some places, guys give you a cold shoulder, and, you know, you could just read energy at times. It's like, you could feel it. And I'm like, me, I'm just like, you're
just
like,
you.
You may learn something from somebody that, you know, they're like, man, that's totally, I've never thought that he would know this or that, or that's interesting what he does. And sometimes you may pick things up that may, you know, interest you down the road, or you may influence somebody else to do things of like, man, he really inspired me to do this.
I think that's really big because it sounds like you keep an open mind.
Yeah,
of course. You're willing, you understand that you can learn anything from anyone.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, kudos to you because there's a lot of people in your shoes that, or even younger boxers now or younger athletes that don't think that way. They think they're up here, and it's like, okay, who are you?
That's what I tell you. If you think you already know it, you don't need mentors, you don't need trainers, you don't need this and that. If you think you know everything. Even now, I'm like, listen, even with Wayne, I'm still learning new things that I was like, man, I didn't know nothing. I've been boxing for over 20 years, and then I'm like, I didn't never know I would be able to do this or do that.
Being a student of the game.
Yeah, you got to keep open-minded. It doesn't matter how old you get or whatever.
And that's how you've been a world champ.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I've seen the other side of it where it's kind of like these athletes, you know, it kind of gets to their head where it's like, oh, you know, the ego. It's like, I'm cool.
And then what happens afterwards? You start seeing,
they start going down.
Then they started blaming everybody else. Then they making all these crazy changes, and it doesn't get it gets worse over time.
On that note, Jamel, I wanted to touch on you know, your upbringing. Were you always like that? Just, you know,
like for me,
wisdom from the elders there, and
you know, like for me, like I learned at a young age. Like I was going through, like, my mother at the time. She was, you know, she was going through issues, and so I was taken away and put into foster care. And then, you know, I was placed. I'll never forget. It was like 2-3 years old, and I was placed in, like, I come from an all-black community. And then for a short time, me and my brother Gerard, we were placed in like in a Caucasian family household. So I started, like, you know, it's like they always tell you, like, things like, you know, things are taught to you. You know, so you don't like really have that in your DNA, like, especially with, like, racism and things like that, but things are just taught to you.
Yeah.
But, like, when they took me in, they treated me, because they had a little boy at the time, around the same age, and they treated me like one of them. So That's what I mean by when I was early, at a young mind. I mean, well, at a young age where I had an open mind about everything. Like, these people are just we look different, but they're just as nice as say anyone else I came across in my young early ages of being just say on this planet. So like, and then I was sent to another foster care, out in Amityville, Long Island, and they took me in and treated me just like no different from the other kids that were in that household until a few years later. I did go back to my parents eventually, but like I keep things like that in my mind, like you treat people the way you want to be treated, and things of that nature. And I don't, like I said, I got best friends that are from Indian. I got one of my best friends growing up, Brian Lander. Shout out to him. He comes from an Italian. He's Italian, and we were very close. Like I said, my best friend Limerick Freeman. We've grown up together. We live around the corner from each other. Stephen Brown, who shout out to Stephen. He passed away. He's actually influenced me to join the Marine Corps, but keeping an open mind, like I meant, because he was a year older than me. And he went to boot camp, and then he came back, and I just seen the change, and I kept that open mind. Like, man, there's nothing here for you. Go out, so you should try this. And so I always keep an open mind. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't, and move on. But I have that experience now.
You got to try it at least.
Yeah, and even if I don't like it, I can share that experience with somebody else who may just like it. So, like for me, like I look at it like my thing is like treat people the way you want to be treated, and just keep like you guys said, keep an open mind to everything.
That makes a lot of sense, and personally, I can relate to that because I got a scholarship to go study with honestly some rich white kids, like at age or grade 6. And I had the same exposure that you're talking about, where I got exposed to a lot of white people.
Right.
Me being Latino, I grew up in Koreatown, and it's mostly Asians and Latinos.
Right.
There was no white people. So when I got to that school, it was like, oh, this is what y'all like. Like, oh, everybody's rich here. They treated me like family. Like I felt, I mean, shout out to the Natsis family. They were like my second family. They blessed me so much. I mean, really, it's an emotional topic for me to talk about because there's so much love there.
Right.
But I can totally relate to that. And I'm curious, Jamel, you being a father of 6, I believe. Yeah. How do you...
Man, I was lost count there, bro. I had to think like man, like damn.
That's what Wikipedia said.
Have I been that busy? Like
putting in work outside the ring too.
Right, yeah, man.
That's for sure. How do you, you being a dad now, you having your babies, how do you make sure they get that kind of exposure with? Oh, like I live out in Mason, Ohio now, and so like my kids is basically it's pretty much a predominant, white school. Oh, okay. But they also have I see a lot of Indian kids and so on, and diversity.
It's like there's a diversity, but it's predominantly white out there. But they treat. Like my neighbors are great. My neighbors are great out there. They don't I haven't had any issues. So and then like my kids, I never speak about race, anything. Like me and Jennifer don't ever really speak about race within our home anyway. We just you got an issue with a certain individual. We don't look at the skin color. We look at just that individual. The person himself. Okay, hey, especially my daughter Jasmine. She's a firecracker. Jasmine, I think sticks out to me a little too much. That's why my wife was like, she needs to put in boxing. No, she's already putting hands on people as it is. So but I tell her listen, if you have an issue with this individual, just move away from it. But I don't look at it as the little white girl or this and that. No, I don't like it. So I keep that that mindset out of my children's mind. Just look at the individual as just an individual. And then I Jasmine. My youngest daughter, Justice, they're both autistic. So once you program something in their minds as it is, it sticks. Yeah, it sticks. So I always teach them to judge people based on character. Yeah. But also not judge as much because you may not like them at first, but they may things change over time. Relationships may change. Yeah, people change. So it's don't always have I don't like her. You keep that imprinted in your mind. If anything, just don't deal with them. If you don't mess with them, if you don't rock with them, just leave them be. But don't ever carry any
that
disdain
grudge,
or
right?
hatred in your heart. So that's what I try
Smart,
to teach
man.
my
I like
kids.
that.
That's key. Yeah, that's key, man. Because just listening to y'all, you know, my experience was a little different.
Right.
You know, I grew up in a city by the name of Cudahy, California. It's southeast of Los Angeles, and it's prominent Mexicans.
Right.
And my parents in 2008 they decided to buy a house in Bakersfield, which is a little up north.
Yeah, I know
And
Bakersfield.
when I got to Bakersfield, I kid you not, man, I was starstruck in the sense of there was white people.
Right.
There was no white people in my community, right? But I remember just, you know, going to school and trying to play football with these kids, and they were like, "Nah, like you're not one of us."
Yeah, and you come across that. That's the
Yeah.
thing about it. You will come across that. I'm not saying it's a perfect. We know it's not a perfect world.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. But again, I came across stuff like that. I remember like I never forget. It was crazy. Like I was like with my friends, and like we was walking on like it was a busy like road. Like, I guess we were just like at the time we was teenagers just trying to venture out the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And never forget it was a car full of white kids, and they beat the horn like niggers, and like, it was crazy. Like, but we was like, yeah. So it was like again, and then you know, I had experiences and like that, even in basic training in boot camp, or even in the Marine Corps, the military. But again, it never steered me because I looked at it like this. I always took it like this, like I never judge a group of people as the same. You know what I mean? I look at it as that's ignorance probably cheats upon, you know, within their own household. But even now I hate when they think like,
It's
oh,
generalized.
something's like it gets stupid on social media. They put it on social media. Oh, it's a black thing. No, it's not every. Yeah, it's not.
It's just that particular family with that mindset.
That mindset of people over there. Man, I don't know how they came up, and I'm not here to judge, but that's not how we all think. So like again, you experience, you know, both good and bad, but again, it's how you take it in. It's how I looked at it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not going to sit there and judge every white person as their races, or you know what I'm saying, or every like, you know, I'm not doing that.
That's real good though. That's real, man. What I'm sensing off of you, man, is that you move with a pure heart.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a good way to move because sometimes we get so consumed with what's going on in the world, and we make problems that are not even our problems in a sense, and we move with hatred, or you know, we treat people different because of situations like that.
Right.
So I love that you're touching on that, and I think that's just a humane of you. You know, just move with a pure heart.
Yeah, because again, like I said, I had to serve with men and women that did have my back, that were from different, you know, backgrounds, even with religion. You know what I'm saying? I don't judge you to who you pray to or how you you know want to move and things of that nature. Like even like speaking with Wayne, it's crazy. Like Wayne was telling me like really where he's from is not really much of racism. But there's more of like people, they get based on their religion. Like, you know, that's a whole different level. Yeah, it's a whole different level. Yeah. So it's like, you know, again, and he's like, yeah, he's like, just black folks in Ireland, but they get based on mainly what they preach to, or what they, you know, how they,
who do you believe
in? Who you believe in. So more than the color of their skin. So it's crazy. Like
it's always something.
Yeah, it's always something. But it's crazy.
Is
keep an open mind how people move in the world.
Mm-hmm. It's a very smart and developed way of thinking, and I'm sure you see it as everything happens for a reason. Like obviously, it's heartbreaking for any child to go into a foster home. Yeah. But look at, you know, what you've learned. And it's crazy.
And I still speak with that family to this day.
You still keep in touch.
You know, I still keep in touch with them. Yeah. Like she's like my we call her nanny, Mrs. Cruz. Mm-hmm. She's 90 something years old today, but she still remembers. She'll still to tell me stories about that I forgot. You know what I'm saying? Living under her roof, and you know, I still speak to them. The Cruz family out in Amityville, and they're just like, again, they treated me like I was one of their own flesh and blood. So why would I look at them any different or treat others any differently? If you taught me this and how to be a proper human being, that's how I'm gonna carry out, you know, the way I move even in adulthood.
I think that's that love. Like no matter where love comes from, if it's a white person, if it's an Asian person, love just transcends everything to where even
like going on to touching more to that, even within my own household. My oldest daughter, Cameron, she's 19 years old, going to Southern University. She's not my biological daughter, but I've been raising her since she was 6 years old. Because I come from a household where my biological father wasn't really never, he was non-existent, but my stepfather, who I consider as my father, you know, Harry Ellaby, he was raising me since the time that, you know, before I could even learn how to ride a bike. So those things, again, same thing, like, well, like I said, with love transcendent, like, you know, okay, my father, how I look at it, was stepfather, we gonna put it, he took me as his own. Same thing with his side of the family. You know, I consider them my aunts, uncles, cousins. That's family is family.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to be blood. Family is family. But my daughter Cameron, she's
sees you as dad.
Yeah,
sure.
she looks at me. I'm just her father.
Yeah,
it's no different.
Yeah.
Even to the point I never forget. She had been like probably 7, 8 years old, and she wanted to change her last name because she had her mother's last name. Mm-hmm. She never had her biological father's last name, but she wanted to change her last name to Herring. So I thought that was touching. So we did that, and now it's been Cameron Herring ever since then. And like you know, she's been to DC. Yeah, she's been to DC now. She's studying to be an attorney. Nice. So she's spoken to politicians out that
Shout
way.
out to her, man.
She's
That's
even
dope,
telling
man.
me, Dad, you got to vote, Dad. You trying to tell me about politics, but again, like we have a great relationship where you would
awesome.
you would think that. Like I was there from the time she came out the womb, so
right. You would think you'd be the biological dad.
That's
exactly.
I'm sure that was a good feeling for yourself, man. Not only that, but the Herring last name is going to continue.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
that's dope.
and she's taking it and doing great things with it. Her mother Jennifer is great, you know, because Jen she's instilled a lot within her, especially you know she's grown into being her own woman. So you know it takes like I said it takes a whole village at times to you know. To raise these kids, and you know, my family. They look at her as one of the. I don't say like she's
one of their own.
Like, one of our own. They don't judge anything. They don't look at it as not. No, they're like that's my niece. That's
family.
That's my cousin. It's family.
That's funny. I have a little sister, man, who you know, her dad is not my dad.
Right.
And, you know, I would always get asked like that. And I even feel weird. I've never said, oh, that's my stepsister.
Right.
Like, no, that's my sister.
That's my sister.
That's my blood, you know?
Well, technically, she's not. She's actually, the technical term would be she's your half-sister.
That's crazy. That's the thing with my siblings. Like, I'm like, I literally just like seen that, the technical terms, like, even my, like, because all my, like, after me, all my other siblings, they have the same father, you know, which is cool, whatever. But, it's technically, but like, we don't do halves and steps, and
there's no technicalities.
That's just
You're my
sis, bro, cuz, whatever, and so on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wanted to ask you. You kind of touched on it a little bit that it takes a village. A village to raise a family. Like, I mean, so, and I also want to touch on you being a Marine veteran, all that. But before, I mean, since we're on the topic of kids, how do you handle 6? We think we're for sure 6 babies.
Well, yeah. I hope so. My 2 sons, they come from a previous relationship.
Gotcha.
During the Marine Corps.
Okay.
You know, they live in Georgia now.
Gotcha.
But that's nothing. They, you know, let's be honest. There's always this stigma that, you know, black fathers are not involved as much. Mm-hmm. Me, I pick my phone right now. I'm texting my sons. What y'all doing?
Yeah.
How y'all grades? I need to be
involved
involved in everything, especially with technology. I get to pull up their grades, their medical records, everything. And but I was to the point where I probably nagged them more than anything, especially because you know, my oldest son Stephen, who I named after my best friend that passed away in the Marine Corps. My oldest son Stephen, who was born in 2007. You know, he's about to be 17 in August. You know, my Jamel Jr. He's 14. So they're getting to that stage where you gotta be more in tune, especially raising young men. Yeah. But again, I always try to keep a great relationship with their mother as well, because it's one thing about me. Me and their mother may not always get along, but like when they're around, I will never disrespect their mother, because I will never show that. You know, it's okay to slander, you know, especially that's their mother at the end of the day. Right. Yeah. I may not like the way she may move here and there. And don't get me wrong, we get along really well now. But at times we will bump heads of like any other.
That's normal.
That's normal. But I always, you know, teach them this is how you you know, even if you don't get along with individuals, this is still how you should move.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever have this again, this hatred in your heart and disdain for
Just
people.
respect for people.
Just be respectful, or just move yourself away from the situation.
It's a good example. Good example. And obviously, you and mom, like you guys are in the one accord that you're gonna do what's best for the kids
no matter what. No matter what, I don't care if our sons is 50 years old. We'll still be involved in their lives. So
forever.
we still got so we gotta work it out somehow.
Right.
We can't just until they're 18 years old. No, it doesn't end there, because you still gotta like, even like my mom is still a mom. Even so she's like that. So when I see that, I'm like, okay, my mom is still being a mother to me and still teaching me about things. I know it's gonna be that time also. So it never stops. It never ends. I have to still continue being a father to my own kids. So that's one thing. Like, my sons, I know they're upset. But this how you know we have a close relationship. They're upset because while I'm in Australia, that's their spring break. So they won't be able to, and don't get me wrong, like Jen will allow them. Like Jen, like we don't. That's nothing with Jen. Also, Jen treats them like they're her own. Like they refer to her at times. Just
Jen
mom.
is
my wife. Yeah,
Gotcha.
my wife Jen. They refer to her as mom, and Jen doesn't mind if they want to come. But again, they're teenagers, so they want to hang out with dad. So it's like,
do stuff with dad.
Yeah, but again, when they was like small though, everything they when me and Jennifer were just dating, they would like have a fit and tantrum whenever I had to take them back, from because they would come with me to the weekends.
They didn't fully understand.
Yeah, they didn't fully. They was like, oh, why are we leaving? So like, so over time, like they look at Jennifer as like, their other mother as well. So that's one thing about like, it's like same thing where I treat Cameron. Jen treats them as their own in blood. So that's how we.
You're
raise
a good
our
dad,
kids.
man.
Yeah, man, that's amazing, man. It's definitely a healthy household, because I know there's other places where it's not like that, man.
Oh yeah. And it's crazy. Me and Jen were just talking about that literally last night about a mutual friend that we have, when he had to basically divorce his wife because when he got custody of one of his children, it was different. It started being different. Like it was cool. Like when the child was coming over for visitations, he thought it was everything was good. But once the child became a part of the household, he started seeing the difference. Like that she's treating her other kids with him differently than ones that he had with another individual. So he started seeing that, and I'm like,
that sucks.
Yeah, man.
That
So
sucks
like
we
we was like, and then like, and that never came to mind. Like kids are innocent.
Right.
Pure.
Like
They have nothing to do with all that.
They wasn't asked to be brought in this world. They didn't know that the parents gonna have these issues.
Right.
But like you said, it's not always like that.
It's funny that you bring that up, man, because my parents got divorced, right? But when my parents got divorced, my mother was throwing poison at me about my father,
right?
So I could look at him different and go against him. And my mom has a lot of pride, right? So when I decided to move back to Los Angeles with my father,
right,
I know she took that kind of personal. Where it's like she's the type is like either you with me or you against me.
Yeah.
And
honestly, that's crazy. That's how my son's mother was moving at first with me. Where because obviously boys get older, they want to live with their fathers at times. So I was going through that too.
Yeah. And what I was gonna say, naturally, like me being the so I come from a family of four. They're all females.
Right.
I'm the only boy.
Oh yeah.
So at that time when I was younger, obviously as a young man, I wanted to protect my mother. Right. And when she was telling me these things, I would look at my father differently. But then at a young age, I started just peeping game and just really like learning what was really going on. And I made a decision where I was like, you know what? Mom's not good right now. Mom is not in a good place. Right. And I feel like Pops needs me right now. Where not only was he going through a divorce, but he was filing for bankruptcy, losing his house, and his mother passed away at the same time. So it was like adversity after adversity after adversity. So then I just remember moving back with Pops and just sticking with him every day, going through the mud, I guess you can say.
Right. And
I built this respect for my father where I was like, damn, like, this guy ain't throwing in the towel. Like he's going through all this, but he's not showing it. Right. And he's still being a father and, just giving us light that
respect. Respect.
But, man, so I know you brought up your boy, Stefan. So he's the one, Stefan or Stefan?
Yeah, Stefan.
Stefan, he's the one that kind of, introduced you to the Marine Road. How old were you at that time?
I think I was like 16 going on 7. Because
So-
when I went to boot camp, I was 17.
So it was
I had
fresh
my
out of high
18
school?
Yeah, straight out of high school. And he was, like I said, he was always a year older than me. So he went fresh out of high school, and he just took off from there. And then when he came back, he used to be a little heavy set dude. So when he came back, he was sharp in shape.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Different mindset, different different perspective how he looked at things. And I was like, man, I need to like see what
this is all about.
What this is all about. What level he's on. So he just influenced me.
So really, it was his change and his transformation that you were like, I wanna have that same kind of.
Yeah, him and another fellow Marine, Vincent Reese. Shout out to Vincent and the Reese family. He was well older than us, but then I seen the other side. Like I'm thinking, like I'm young, I'm still a kid. He got his own car, he got this, he got money, he also got like something. I started seeing things like that. So
Right.
it was just like a lot of that because influenced me to really make that change and do something in my life. Because at the time, school wasn't for me. Like it wasn't like I don't get me wrong. I was an honor roll student and anything like that, especially my senior year. Like I just wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. So
You weren't too interested in it.
but
though.
I was, yeah,
You knew there was
I wasn't
something
ready
more.
for the college life. I didn't have the mindset. So but I knew I needed to do something because
Right.
if I hung around too long, I'd have probably in the streets doing other things,
Yeah. Drink beer and get
So,
fat or something.
correct me if
selling
I'm wrong.
drugs and everything.
Yeah.
Right,
Correct me if I'm wrong, but also, you joined the Marine Corps. Is that's how you found boxing as well?
No. Because I was actually boxing when I started boxing about late 15, 16 years old. But like I said again, I joined the Marine Corps about 17 years old. So I found boxing before the Marine Corps, but majority of my amateur career actually took place within the Marine Corps. So I started learning, I started being more a student of the game. Then I think 2007, my second deployment in Iraq, I actually got to witness the Floyd Mayweather Oscar De La Hoya fight from Iraq, and I was like, man, when I get back, I need to get back into boxing. I really need to get back into boxing. So that's one fight that always plays out of my mind about where I'm at today. That influenced me to get back into boxing. And I think in 2012, I know in 2012 I was actually the only. When I made the Olympic team, I was actually the only U.S. Marine to even any sport.
Well, you still are, right?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody else. I was reading up on you.
Yeah, matter of fact, I don't think.
You still are. I was doing the
I think
research. You're the only Marine
in boxing. Boxing wise, but like in just that whole entire Olympic Games or any sport, from Team USA, I was the only Marine to compete. And since then, I've been the only Marine boxer. I think other Marines, other sports have made it to the Olympics and other other categories. But in terms of boxing, I'm still the only U.S. Marine to compete, and then
and to be champion.
Yeah, and then on top of that, because I'm a U.S. Marine, they appointed me to be team captain, team captain. So that was a huge honor, and those guys today I still speak with. The Jose Ramirez, Jojo Diaz, Marcus Brown. Me and
That's the
Rasheed
Olympic
Warren,
team back then,
Errol Spence and so Marlene Esparza, Clarissa Shields, Queen
so
Underwood. Yeah,
Damn, that was a stacked team.
Yeah, it was a stacked. Yeah, we had a stacked team.
Yeah, I remember Jojo Diaz back in the days. I would get my hair cut. My barber would tell me about Jojo Diaz.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's representing the Olympics.
Yeah.
now. So I remember those times there.
Jamel, I'm curious. I mean, I got a few questions regarding the whole. You serving, and by the way, thank you for your service. You did 2 tours,
respect. Yeah,
correct?
two
Yeah.
tours.
So, how do you feel about and let me know if this is too touchy if you don't want to go here, but how do you feel about our treatment as a country for veterans? And I know it's a big question.
It's a good question. It's actually a good question.
I'm curious because you're a veteran yourself.
It's crazy. I just recently got. While I was in training camp with Wayne, late October, I just recently got 100% disability from the VA after fighting with the VA for years because I had PTSD. So and then I just recently was crazy. I was just diagnosed with major depressive disorder. So like this is why I always stay in tune and touch with a lot of things that go on with veterans. This is why. You guys, if you see me, I'm always out there speaking with anybody, especially when it comes to veterans and
you're campaigning.
Campaigning and bringing awareness to these things. So again, these are things like when it comes to veterans, it means a lot because I've served with guys that lost their lives on the home front because of suicide or depression and things of that nature. Before a couple of weeks before my fight with Wayne in November, I was given a call that one of my old boxing teammates from the Marine Corps had overdosed and passed away. Dang. So these things that I always keep in mind, like this is why I still fight. This is why I still keep myself in the public light. This is why I still speak on it. So again, I mean, it can be touching, but it can be depressing at times. But I feel like it's needed. It's needed.
Right.
To be out there. One story, for example, this is why it has nothing to do with like like depression or anything like that. But it's just why I don't take things for granted. 2007, there was a sergeant. EOD technician, basically like the bomb squad. He was giving us a class. He was telling the group of us, hey, I got a 2-week-old son that I haven't met yet. I'm trying to teach you guys this class so you guys can stop, you guys get home safely to your families. And there's a couple of Marines just playing around and taking it seriously, so he got offended. That's why he said that. So I'm out here giving you my time, what to look out for to make sure you guys go home safely and you guys are playing. So a couple of weeks later after that class, he had lost his life. He had to a roadside bombing. And it always plays in my mind to this day that he has a son out there that he never got to meet. Yeah. So, and at that time, I was expecting my first son as well, Stephen. So that messed me up. Like, tomorrow's never promised. Right. Anything can happen. And so it's like, that's why when I got back to the States, I promise you not, I appreciated things like proper plumbing because they didn't have proper plumbing out there, of course.
The little things, huh?
Yeah, little things like grass. Like I'm like, man, I was happy to see grass. Like because I'm tired of seeing sand all the time. You know what I mean? Yeah. So things man, I was just like, first thing I did, when I got back home, my son was like 3 weeks old. So that was my first. But ever since then, I was always there for every one of my children's births because I missed my first son's birth because I was away. Okay. But I was always there for every last one of them. I was there. I never forget a funny story. Jennifer can tell you the story too. But when my daughter Jasmine was born in 2013, they had they had the little bassinet thing with the name on it, the placard. They had rolled it out. It said Dickerson in it. So, whoa, roll this baby out and make sure you come back with herring on it. But that's how much I took pride in just being a father. Yeah, that I like the little thing. Yeah, it's mine. It's mine. Man. But yeah, it was again. But going back to with veterans, it's rough, man. I still see even now, listen, I know I tell veterans that's going through major issues to me, and they're not getting the proper help or treatment. So I'm like, hey, I got a lawyer, I got an attorney on board that I know that can help you with your case.
I was just gonna ask you, so anybody, you've got we've been told by Jerry and we've seen it on your social media, but you have a very loyal fan base. You've got a lot of veterans that follow you and listen to you, and kudos to you for still fighting for these
advocating
things.
For that.
Yeah, and advocating exactly. What kind of advice for a veteran out there that doesn't, is feeling maybe depressed, is going through something, they're alone? How do we help them? Where do you point them to?
Listen, man, to be honestly, like I said, I'm open. I do therapy. I still go through therapy. I go through therapy. Nothing wrong with therapy. I had that mindset though. I'm a Marine. I'm supposed to be tough. I'm supposed to be hardened.
I don't need help.
I don't need help. I got to keep everything in. But I started seeing that it was weighing on me, but more importantly, weighing on my family. That's when I was really out there heavy drinking. But it wasn't for me. I get real quiet when I drink heavy. I'm not the type. We all know those guys who get wasted. They could be aggressive, loud. But no,
violent.
For me, I would kind of just isolate myself.
You're the opposite.
But when I do that though, my mind starts thinking about everything I've been through. Yeah. We didn't touch on 2009. I lost a daughter to SIDS. So that weighed on me heavily. If you watch me fight today, if you notice, I only had one name on my trunks, and it's Ariana. And when I'm going through something like depressing, or I'm thinking about something stupid, I always think about when I look down at my trunks, or even when I'm in a fight, if I'm going through a rough fight, I always look down. I'm like, why am I still fighting? And I was thinking about my daughter as my guardian angel.
Your wife.
So so that's why I try to always turn negatives into a
Positive.
positive. You know, even like it's crazy. The opening ceremony of the Olympic Games in 2012, I think it was July 27th of 2012. That was the opening ceremony. That was actually the 2-year anniversary of my daughter's passing. So I never forget. I looked up to the sky. I was like, you know, I'm here for you, baby girl. I made it. I made it.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace, your daughter.
Man, I'm getting the chills as I'm listening to you here speak on that because, like, man, you're fighting for a way bigger purpose.
Right.
You know, it's not just for money. It's not just for fame. You're fighting for you're like the voice for other people. You know that's
people was like criticizing me because, you know, with boxing, father time is undefeated. But like they looked at me when I came back, they thought I was coming back for money. I gave up half of my purse to donate to veterans in NYPD when I fought in New York. So like it wasn't for the money aspect. I was doing it for the right cause. It was Veterans Day. It was Veterans Day week. You know, I fought November 7th. So the Veterans Day and the Marine Corps birthday was coming right up behind it. So I was just fighting for a proper cause. Like I gave half my I didn't make a ton of money on that fight. I did it, but I did it for the right reasons, and it went to a proper cause and charity.
Stuff that mattered to you.
Right?
Yeah. Damn, that's big there. One of my questions for you, Jamel, was gonna obviously you fight in the ring, but what's been your toughest fight? And it doesn't have to be in the ring. Like, what was a moment for you where that you said like, man, like this was my toughest fight?
I think, like I said again, going back to my daughter Ariana that passed away, trying to bounce back and wanted to do anything. Like I locked myself away for like literally 2 weeks straight after the funeral and everything. Like no one didn't see me, and including my Marines, because they gave me their time away to to mourn. So I had to tell myself, would she want to see me like this and drowning myself into the depression and things of that nature.
You're a strong dude, man. Like that's just a lot to go through. And like you said, you really do turn negatives into positives because it's so much easier to just drown in sadness and pain. So,
no, you're right. You're right. Yeah, and that's why I'm so competitive and I love a challenge because, like you said, it is easy just to give up. It is easy just to
play the victim.
Play the victim and feel bad for yourself. But it takes because again, when I said by experience, I never one of my friends that I went to high school with. She had lost a child to SIDS, and she came to me about, just my thoughts and my experience because she was going through a rough time. But again, that's where that experience comes from. That's when you get like again trying to shed some light on the things. And I said, listen, it's never gonna get easy. You're never gonna say, well, I can replace a child because I had kids afterwards. No, your child is your child.
Right.
But again, you gotta look at ways to always keep the good things and that memory and the positive
and keep
light.
Going.
Right?
There was a moment, Caleb Plant also lost a daughter.
Yeah,
and
I
remember I don't know if it was Darrell or somebody brought it up, and they were saying like, stop using your daughter for fame and something like that. Well, as a fan, I kind of took that offensive because, like you said, that's a hard moment, but I'm sure he's doing it for that's his why as well.
And it's bigger than just fame or about that's your child. Like
exactly.
the emphasis, I believe that's my shout out to Caleb. I met Caleb in 2010. We was actually teammates with Golden Gloves team back in the day then. But me and Caleb always been cool since then. But again, I know what he was going through. That's your first child, and you got to sit there and watch it. And like he had to watch, his child suffer day in and day out. Like I said, with me, my daughter just passed away in her sleep, but he was like in the hospital with his child,
her fighting
and so that takes a toll. But again, when he won his first world title, first thing he did was go to her gravesite, and dedicate that to her. So you can't sit there and tell people, and like again, I know, Anthony Darrell, like we've been in training camps together, and that wasn't a good look, but hopefully. I hope he changes his aspect, how he took that approach. But you can't tell someone when to turn it on and turn it off. I mean, that's something that's gonna stick with Caleb for the rest of his life.
Yep. Yeah. No. And I got the chills because just thinking about I saw that post that he went to his grave to her grave and he said I delivered on my promise. Yeah, I was gonna be a world champion.
And the crazy, I won my first world title again on my daughter's birthday.
I saw that.
I should have been 10 years old that day.
Was that against Ito?
Yeah, that was Ito. So that was no way I was losing that. It was no way I was losing that fight. It was no way. And I probably put on like other than the family fight, of course, I think I put on probably the best performance of my career. I was the underdog. They thought, because they got to think about it also, boxing is a business, so they thought it was going to be a great story. He fights on his daughter's birthday.
Right.
She would have been
The
10 years old. The narrative of Brian, oh, at least he made it. I was like, no, my story doesn't end there.
I'm winning.
Yeah, I'm taking this.
I'm going further than it.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at it.
It didn't matter how much in shape Ito came, bro.
Nah, he wasn't gonna win.
He wasn't gonna win.
Shout out to Rudy Hernandez. I know Rudy was like, man, where this kid come from? Because Rudy's a great trainer.
It reminded me of Shea Mosley. He came out in an interview when he fought Margarito, and Margarito got caught with the bands. And Shea Mosley said it didn't matter. There was no way he was gonna win that fight because I think he was going through a divorce at the time, and his wife said, "This is gonna be your last paycheck."
I mean, yeah, and then if you look at it also. Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson. Buster Douglas just lost his mother.
Yeah, bigger purpose
at the time. So yeah, I think bigger purposes always they do play a defining role in how you carry yourself. But again, you can either feel bad for yourself or you take that and use it as fuel.
Exactly. There's a saying that I have. It's either your story's either going to be a tragedy or a triumph.
Right.
And it's your decision. You're going to make that choice.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I look at this. No one's going to feel bad for me if I sit there and cry every day and more. They're like, listen, dog, people that go through losses every day, dog. You know what I mean? So you got to look at things like some people, they're not trying to hear it. Yeah. Or like, hey, it was a good story. Next. And they on to the next.
True.
How did you, because you have a therapist now. I don't think you had a therapist back then. No. So you've done it. Obviously, you've achieved a lot, but what are some of your, strategies for fighting, Jamel? Like, I'm just very curious to, study you as an individual. Like, what did that look like? Like, how did you just had conversations with yourself? Like, I just gotta push through and fight through.
I looked at the same thing I've said. Like I just touched on a little bit earlier. Like, nobody's gonna feel bad for you. Everybody goes through their own things, and I get that. Yeah. So you can't. Oh, woe is me. This and no. You gotta find that strength within yourself at times. But listen, I'm not gonna be known as this or that. I'm gonna write my own story. Right. I'm gonna make it stick. I'm gonna make it stand down and have it stick. So for me, I always look at even now. I feel like, oh, he'll never be a champion again. Okay, that's your opinion, but I'm not gonna let that get to me.
Right.
I'm gonna show you better than I can. I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you.
You've got your own opinion about yourself.
Speaking of writing your own story, you have a book, The Fighting Marine.
Right.
So shout out to that. If you guys haven't seen that, pick that up. And do you share more of your story on there?
No, it's crazy. I share like a lot of the story that I was sharing didn't even get to the book. So me and JCO talk about, later, even like now, I'm still writing a story. So like, who knows, maybe 5-10 years from now, I may be in another book. But I usually I touched on a lot. Like I said, when I was in the foster care system, growing up during high school as a teenager with that experience. I touched on my military experience. I touched on some great things, but I feel like there's still much more that needs to be shared. I touched on my pro career, but again,
you're still young too. There's so much more to live too that you're gonna learn.
Not only that, but I see like how you advocate for the Marines. You're also bringing that to the boxing game, putting these young fighters on game. I know yesterday we kind of had a conversation on the financial literacy side where, a lot of these kids, when they join the game, they're young, 18, 19, where they don't know about financial literacy, right? We need somebody that's going to guide us and make sure that not only we put on great fights for the fans, but our longevity in the sport. But what's that like for you, man, being a mentor for these young kids?
Yeah, man, please learn financial literacy, guys out there, women as well. I don't want to see a fighter way past their prime and all they know is fighting. So that's all they know how to pay their bills. Like, no, set up LLCs, start investing. Even if a little money at a time, put away money to the side for more important, like we said, the biggest contender, the IRS. Yeah. You know what I mean? The IRS is big. Hey,
you'll never lose that fight.
You'll never win that one.
Yeah. You'll never win.
But like a lot of promoters out there, managers, they're not making sure you're keeping up with your taxes. No, I mean they just
that's not their job.
Sign the check. Hey, have a good day. Hey, and we'll see you the next time.
Let's play that out, man, as an example here. Let's just say, you fight, you got your pay-per-view. A pay-per-view fight, you make, $1 million, $2 million.
Right.
plus the buys. Well, what does that actually look like when you take that home?
I think you guys was talking about yesterday also, because I seen it with Mikey Garcia.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta think about it. You probably, depending where you're fighting at, you got the state tax. The federal government is looking at that check for the end of the year.
Sorry, so it goes based on where you fight, where you get taxed, or not where you live.
No, it's where you, because like I said, when I fought Lamont Roach, they took 21,000 from, and I'll never forget that number, because I'm like, damn, like it was my first title defense. I'm like, man, like whoa, like California don't play.
Not fighting here ever again.
Yeah, like I love you, Cali, but y'all don't play around. Same thing with New York. I'm from New York. New York don't play around either. But again. That's why it comes to experience, and that's why I started seeing why. Okay, like guys like Floyd Mayweather, he fights here in Vegas a lot, state free, tax free,
right?
State. But again, it's not even just the state taxes; that federal government that you really have to worry about, and they're coming for their money regardless. They don't care how much you got left. Hey, this is what you owe by the end of the year. So I get what Mikey Garcia was saying, and also you got to look at. You got to pay your trainer,
your team,
you got your cut man. If you had a strength and conditioning coach, your nutritionist, so you got to divvy that up. And like me, and like Jerry knows it's better than like he can tell you better. Like for me, I always make sure to take care of my team before I start spending anything on myself, because it's the honorable thing to do. Some guys though, they start spending the money before and then it's like, you see they got sour relationships with certain they losing trainers, they're losing people around them, they're losing trust. Nobody wants to work with them because like, hey, he doesn't pay up front, or he doesn't pay at all. So one thing I do, I make sure everybody who helped me along the way,
they eat first.
They eat first, and then whatever I have left, I'm happy with that.
That's real leadership. I'm sure you learned that also, like in the Marines, like taking care of your team first.
Because you don't want to burn bridges either. You don't want to burn bridges. You might need to go across that bridge again. And if you had a good chemistry with that team, why would you want to risk ruin that over a few coins?
Yeah.
That you knew anyway that you owed them this amount to begin with.
When did you have your first like big break? I'm sure you remember. Like, your big first check, and you said like, yo, this is actually boxing,
I think it really, I mean, I was like, not for Lamont Roach, I was in the six figures, but I think like the Frampton fight and obviously the Shakur fight, I was like, man, hey, shout out to Shakur Stevenson, man,
He's fighting. He just announced he's going to fight in July, right? So he's not retired, guys. He's coming back.
It's, man, Shakur be bullshit, man. Shakur's bullshitting with that. But again,
but you guys were in camp together as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, we wasn't like really in like camps, but we had the same mutual circles at times.
Gotcha,
and like we sparred a couple times as well. But like Shakur, like again, and I know like during that buildup, it was a crazy bad buildup at times, but Shakur's actually a good dude. Like we actually speak more now, and like he'll check up, or I'll check up on him to see how he doing. I'll hit him on the side because he's not a bad dude. You know what I mean? But he gets a lot of flack for whatever. But he's not
misunderstood.
A bad kid.
Misunderstood.
And what I was gonna say, man, shout out to you because you're giving these young cats their opportunity. Where there's a lot of fighters, young fighters that don't get that opportunity.
Yeah, and there's a lot of older fighters. That'll duck. Let's be honest, that'll duck from giving that young hungry lion coming up. Again, I could have easily been like, when it came to the Shakur fight, I could have easily said, hey, I can't make the weight no more. I want to move up and avoided that confrontation. But that's just not me. It's just not me. But it is what it is. Everyone has their own mindset how they play it. I mean, I'm not here to judge. I mean, you do what you do. You do what you feel like is best for you. But for me, I rather challenge myself and continue to see how far I can go. Because you may never know. You may surprise yourself with the results.
Yeah, I respect that, man, a lot. That says just a lot about you, your character, who you are, man.
What are you doing outside? I mean, obviously, so you have your whole veteran, campaign. You're doing boxing. What else are you into? What else are you doing?
Like I said, me and Jerry, we manage fighters, and that's why we
first to fight manage.
First to fight.
You see my little skills out yesterday?
Yeah, you know what I mean. You might have a future.
Let me know.
We that's one thing. First thing we try to teach them most. Hey, open up an LLC because you can write these things off in training camps.
So that's like step number one.
Yeah, that's the first.
Literacy.
Like because you get guys that get a little check. I get it. You're young, 18, 19 years old. You want to no.
You want to feel that success.
Yeah, set aside money now while you're young, so you have it imprinted in your mind, and as you get older with that experience, you know how to take care of your money.
Yeah.
You know how to take care of yourself, and you know you could always fall back on something down the road. So again, like for me, talking with Jerry, was buy property. Instead of, you don't see me. You guys, I'm not buying jewelry or things that don't mean nothing. It may look good for.
You didn't bring the Cuban link today.
Yeah, exactly. It may look good for the night, but what's doing it for the long term.
Yeah,
so
facts.
Even then, like of course, you want to buy a car that you may have, but again, always keep the mindset, hey, put money to the side to take care of yourself and your family.
Right.
Why is that more important to you, to have like a property and, less flashy stuff?
Hey, I can get injured, for instance, I can get injured today in sparring and not be able to fight ever again.
About it, yeah.
But at least I will have something to fall back on.
Right.
If I
know
can't
what could
fight.
happen tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. You know what I mean? I can like you see it now, especially with boxing. And God forbid, but there's always some crazy tragedy. And it's like, either a fighter sadly loses their life or they just get injured where they can't ever compete again.
Right.
And they had nothing to fall back on. Now you start seeing the family trying to raise money for medical bills.
Right.
And
They got to restart all over.
Yeah, and it's like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
and then you got to find somebody to take care of you. Then you start seeing that circle you had, it starts dwindling. Those people start going other directions.
One of my biggest thing, man, and when we first got involved in all this, bro, we had the opportunity to sponsor a fighter. And our vision with that was, and me personally, because I love boxing, but I think it should be mandatory for a percentage of your purse to go into a life insurance policy. Because the way I look at it, you're grinding, you're in the game because you want to make it, right? You want to make the big money. But what happens if that never comes, right?
Right.
Because obviously boxing is a dangerous sport. You could lose your life. But what if you have a $1 million life insurance policy where if that day comes and you don't make it out that ring, your family is still going to make a meal. Your family's taken care of for life. So,
and there's also life insurance products where, because most people think of life insurance in that way, where okay, I pay something a month, and then if I die, this is the only way that money activates. So that's the most common form of insurance, but there's actually other forms like an IUL, for example, Index Universal Life, that works as an investment where you can actually kind of like you're telling your fighters like, hey, put this money aside for your retirement, the future. You could use life insurance in other forms. So
that's great.
Throwing that out there because a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. A lot of people do think like that. Like if I'm putting this money into every month, but
I'm not getting anything from it.
Yeah, not getting anything.
This is dumb.
I might live till I'm 104. So we're like,
Right.
So I get it. As people do have that mindset, but
yeah,
I'm glad you put that out there. That there's other forms of it as well.
There's other forms, absolutely,
definitely. So that was something that I was, my intentions, coming in and just talking to these fighters, man, because I obviously, like they're grinding, they're hustling, they're trying to make it. But there's always that other side as well,
right?
Where I feel like if we could teach these fighters that financial literacy, that longevity, I like how you talk about like just think about the future. Warren Buffett has a saying that if you don't learn how to make money in your sleep, you're gonna work to the day you die, right?
That's
so
great,
when you invest in property, have that residual income that's coming into place where I feel like you're in a position in your life, Jamel, where you're choosing to fight for the love of it.
Yeah.
For a bigger purpose, not for the money. And there's situations where people are fighting for the money still, where it's like, yo, this is all I know. This is all I have. Big difference. Yeah. So, it's just because
I look at it like this. If you just fighting for one thing, it's going to throw you off your game. And you're fighting for all the wrong reasons. Don't get me wrong. But the money can be great. The money can be good. But if you just solely focus on one thing and you're not paying attention to everything else, like how to better yourself with your technique and your skill, how to it can end badly in there where you don't even reach what you're fighting for. So you still have to have love for the game. Mm-hmm. Like JC over says, the money is in the fights. The more you win, it's going to come. The money's going to come anyway. But if you just solely focus on just getting a check, it might throw you off to where you're
lose sight.
You're losing sight, and then you're cutting corners because all you're doing is just focus on getting to that date.
Right.
And I'm sure there's stages to it. Would you agree? Like, if maybe originally it starts with like, I'm doing this for the money, but as you grow in the game, you get a family, you start learning more about the game. Like for you, your daughter and the veterans, you know.
Right.
So I'm sure, you know, it's probably okay in the beginning, but make sure that vision grows.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But do you feel sometimes fighters maybe because they're chasing the money, they undervalue themselves, where promoters kind of see that like, oh, he just wants, you know,
I mean, don't get me
check.
wrong. I know fighters that chase it, but they still do what they got to do within the gym. So if it is what it is, but as long as you I say, like, as long as you keep that focus, because like I said, boxing is a dangerous sport. You know what I mean? But if you're just looking at the check, you don't play boxing. You're looking for the check, but you're not also covering your bases within that gym. You can get yourself hurt looking for the check. But again, there's fighters out there who just like they enjoy the money, but they also, you know, they take their craft seriously in their ring. So there's two different people. There's two different ways you can look at it.
Right. It's funny that you say that. Yesterday we were having a conversation with Des Bryant, and he said that you know, he's like he's thinking about doing celebrity boxing.
Right.
And I was like, oh, you know, what do you think about Leventon Bell? Yeah. He's like, oh no, he knows what he's doing, man. He's like, I want to make sure I know what I'm doing before I get in there, because you don't play boxing.
Listen. For you celebrities that's watching too, man, like, don't play box, because you got to remember, like, we live in a social media era. You go out there and you look crazy, you're going to become a meme real quick on that same night. So so please take it seriously as much as y'all possibly can.
On that note, what do you think of Jake and Mike?
I don't know much about it, but I heard like they wearing 18-ounce gloves. Then I'm hearing headgear. If you're gonna do it for exhibition, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with that. It's an exhibition. Whatever, cool, whatever. It's not like we never had. George Foreman had exhibitions, and you know what I'm saying, when he was young coming up. So it's not a
new thing.
It's not a new thing. My thing is this: don't take. I hope it's not a professional fight where you think we're gonna give you credit for beating up a 60-year-old. I don't care. Like, I love Mike Tyson. He's
not 21 anymore. You know?
It's different. Like, if you're gonna do it, you know what I'm saying, do it for the entertainment value. Jake Paul, he does have some, you know, he does bring some light to boxing. So I'm not, you know, it's all love for there like Netflix.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that Netflix would be hosting a boxing event? So there's no hate in that aspect, but like, if y'all gonna do it for entertainment value, I'm all for it. But if you're gonna do it for, like, you know, to put Mike Tyson's name on your professional resume, you can't respect that.
Yeah, it's not real. Like,
not the same.
Yeah,
it's not the same,
I didn't know about the whole headgear things.
It's just something I've seen pop up. You know.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I do hope.
If it's that,
like that.
just then whatever. But if you talk about someone fighting Mike Tyson with 10-ounce gloves on, no headgear, and it's
being 60,
you know what I'm saying, labeled as a professional fight.
Right. Yeah.
I can't get down with that.
I was more worried for Mike when I heard about that fight. You know, I was just like, why? You know, like, you're about to be 50.
I need to talk to Mike though. What they offering for that exhibition, Mike? Because I know Mike ain't getting up for nothing.
No, yeah,
right.
He ain't getting up for nothing.
And credit to them, Paul brothers, who, you know, they're from Ohio. Shout out to them. I mean, they know what they're doing too. They're entertainment people, and they know how to draw crowds.
I'm not
make
knocking.
money.
It's a hustle. It's a hustle. But then again, you know, Jake, you know, he has open doors for others. Like, you know, he's done things with Amanda Serrano. You know what I'm saying? He's giving her more money in her pockets. So I'm not knocking him, but just with that, I'm not.
Just
like,
the differentiate. Make the difference. Like, this
like,
is not
you know,
an actual.
there's pros and cons with everything. So, like, I'm not knocking him, but, you know, shout out to him and his team.
I wanted to ask. Go ahead.
Okay, good. My last question for you would be, brother. We're talking about, like, preparing yourself, financial literacy. You talked about injuries. You never know when your time's gonna come. Right. You know, like, anything could happen, even during this, like, sparring session, whatever. You are 38. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
How are you still? I mean, you're like, LeBron's also like 38. Like, you're still going. We saw him. We saw him. You know, obviously at the gym. He's got to take his shirt off. He's out here. He's got a 6-pack. He looks better than all of us in this room. How are you still going so hard? Like, what's
not only that, before you answer that question, man, one thing that inspired me is that just seeing you do it by yourself yesterday. Like, you didn't have a team there behind you saying, yo, come on, champ, you could do it. Like, how do you remain that discipline by yourself? Because I find myself in times where it's like, oh man, I don't want to hit the gym. My homie ain't gonna hit the gym with me. You know, like, I need somebody that's gonna push me. And to have that discipline to do it on your own and motivate yourself and just, I was personally, man, I was inspired by that.
No, for starters, going back to how just like
How to last long.
Like the LeBrons of the world, everything today is more science, especially how you take care of yourself. Just like we joked about even earlier with the tequila, like everything, like you start learning is science, and my last nutritionist, shout out to Perfecting Athletes, they've done a great job with me in the past 7 years when I was working with them. And their thing has always been about, especially main things, been brain health. That's why you guys, even speaking with you guys, you guys don't hear me, saying stuttering or slurring on my words. Always been like brain health. And the way you cut weight and how you take care of your body, even away from the gym. Like simple things like, okay, once in a while I might drink coffee, but instead of using sugar, I'm using honey. You know what I'm saying, as a substitute or whatever. Or
some like healthier alternatives.
And like you guys see when I came with a gallon of water every day. Yeah, and electrolytes and things like that nature. So like it's the way athletes today take care of themselves. I think what LeBron does, like $1 million
a year.
Yeah, he invests into his health.
He's investing into his health. So that's how you look at it. Your body's a temple, and you got to invest within yourself. Though you can't just say, okay, let me get up today and I'm gonna try this or do that. But no, you have to actually live that lifestyle. And and if, like going into what you was saying about doing it, you have to have that self motivation. So there are days where I don't want I don't like Mondays, especially coming off a weekend where I just been resting or whatever, and then I'm like, oh, I gotta get back in it. But you have to have that self motivation, and you gotta want to do it. You gotta be your biggest cheerleader at the end of the day, because you may not have that circle, that crowd that others may have. And anyway, so you have to be your biggest fan, and you have to want to go out there and do it for yourself.
It's real.
I like that. Yeah, nah, man, definitely. And the moment you're able to do that on your own and you don't need an entourage and all that stuff, that just shows your discipline to the game. And they say that there's that saying, when you love what you do, it never feels like as work. My last question to you, Jamel. Obviously, you're about to go to Australia. You're going to fight in about 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, something like that, 2-3 weeks.
2-3 weeks. When it's all said and over, how do you want to be remembered in the sport? And what are you looking forward to? I know you have the company First to Fight Management. Where do you see that going in the future?
Obviously, I hope it expands and grows. Again, for me, it's not about making a buck. Like even with First to Fight Management, we try to we do give kids, fighters reasonable cuts. Like we're not here to steal from the fighter. That's one thing I'm not here to do. Like we get the fighters like really, really good.
You're looking out for
like
them.
we only take out like really small percentages. We don't because I want to put money in your pocket. I'm not here to just put money in mine, but I want to see majority of that money go in your pocket. So we're not here to steal from fighters. Also, you guys know I do commentary. You know what I'm saying? I love doing commentary. Christina Poncher is one of my mentors that I commentate with.
That's crazy.
With either the ESPN Plus side or Sky Sports for the national feed that we do. But right now I would love to get into more commentary as much as I possibly can, because that's something that I'm I'm falling in love with as well. And I'm picking up little things every time I get in the booth or put the headsets on. It's something that is starting to really, really grow on me. So, I want to do more with commentary in that area. But again, and like I said, I will still be out there, speaking up for veterans and hoping and working towards and praying that they get all the help and treatment they need, and especially their families when they're gone and passed on, their families are being taken care of as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's powerful.
That's amazing.
That's amazing, man. I could say that this is the first time I hear this from a fighter. Just the mentality is just different, man. And I think my respect for you has grown a lot more as a person, and continue being you.
Yeah, and another thing I'm gonna touch on, I want to get into like acting, so just to be out there more. Like I was
acting.
Yeah, acting. Just
nice.
want to get out there and I just want to I'm always.
We
open
have a couple
to
scripts we'll give you.
Yeah, but things of that nature. But
what type of roles do you see yourself playing?
For me again, like I want to I did a few. I tried acting. a couple times, matter of fact, and I did like roles where people would never thought that was me because like you guys can see, like I'm real laid back, chill, humble, but there was just like on roles where I had to be an asshole and things of that nature. So like people like, well, that was you. That would never think that was you. Like you're so
we didn't
different.
know you had it in you.
Yeah, but like, because I know I had it in me, but I had like, but things like mainly like things that's gonna be like challenging and make me like learn more about myself. So those are things that I want to do.
And I would love to see a movie of yourself, of your story, the Fighting Marine, not Curtis. You know, I'm already telling it.
It'd be the easiest role to play, just be you.
Just be you, man. Your story.
I think I'll probably have my son Stephen. You know,
there it is. Yeah, have your son play for you.
Brother, personally, I want to say, very, very thoughtful. You're a very thoughtful individual. I think you're a lot wiser. You know, not that we judged you at first, not like that, but we just didn't know you personally.
Right. Yeah.
Just hearing you speak, I think you're a very blessed man, very smart guy, and my prayer is that you continue to, achieve all the things you want to do, the commentary and the acting. Go for it. You know, you're young, you're 38. You definitely have that discipline, the dedication, the hard work. So you can do anything you want.
Thank you, man. Same for you guys. Like
Thank you,
bro.
Man.
Like I said, I hope that, I was speaking to JC last night about you guys, and we hope that the platform even grows even bigger where, so you guys are speaking with everybody and picking, because it's always great because you may learn something new. Like I didn't know he was going through that, or he been through that, or what I'm saying. And it's all about building relationships and bringing out self-awareness to others. Because whoever you guys may speak with, the viewer may feel like I'm that person. Or I did not know that he feeling the same way.
They can relate.
They can relate and go from there.
Yeah, I have faith that what we're doing is the right thing, man. And I know God is with us. I know we had a proud moment. We just interviewed a young reporter by the name of Christina Ramirez.
Okay,
she's the niece to Robert Garcia, but she's very humble. She doesn't use that.
Yeah, Christina's cool. Yeah, she's real laid back. And like I said again, I know exactly who she is. Like I support her. Like, hey. And I hit her on, hey, keep going.
It's funny that you brought up Christina Puncher.
Yeah,
because that was her inspiration to become a reporter,
and that's what I mean.
Yeah, so
we need more role models out there. Is that you never know who you may inspire and the lives you may touch.
Yep,
definitely. Well, man, I think we're gonna end this here, bro. But we want to definitely wish you, the love, everything. I know you're flying out to Australia. Safe travels out there.
Go get that W, bro.
Go get that W.
I'm gonna get it.
And get the Australian fans too.
Yeah, I'm gonna get them too.
You will. Thank you, bro.
What's
We
his
appreciate
name?
you,
England?
man.
Yeah.
Man, go knock the lights out of England, man.
Yeah, we're gonna get it.
Awesome.
Brother,
Thank you,
thanks,
brother.
man.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you
Thank
guys,
you, G.
man.
Yes, sir. Peace out, fam. Thank you, guys.